Yes.
Welcome to everyone. Good evening to all of you, and we are very pleased to meet you here in this forum, Tamil Rights Activists Forum, organized very frequently meetings in Tamil and in multilingual way to try to communicate with all sorts of other people and to see how we can fight for a better world together. So today we are going to discuss about right to self-determination of nations and minorities under occupation. And for this event, I'm pleased, we are very much honored to have Mr. Dr. Bernard de Farren, who is a special rapporteur on minority issues, who will give his at last, because we'll have many more other speakers from all around the world. So I'd like to say some few words about Mr. Bernard de Farren for those who doesn't know him yet. But I think for the people who are here, we already very much know very well Mr. de Farren, who is our friend and our strong supporter in this system of the United Nations, and we are very pleased to have him to support us in our fight for self-determination. So Mr. Fernand de Farren is an extraordinary professor at the Faculty of Law of the University of Pretoria in South Africa. He's also adjunct professor at the National University of Ireland, Galway, and Cheng Yu Tong, visiting professor at the Faculty of Law of the University of Hong Kong in China. He was appointed at United Nations Special Rapporteur as the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Minority Issues by the Human Rights Council and assumed his function on the 1st of August 2017. Born in Canada, Fernand de Farren is the Dean of the Faculty of Law at the University of Moncton in Canada. He taught law for nearly 20 years in Australia and worked on minority rights and language rights in Ethiopia, the Baltic states, Indonesia, Northern Ireland, and other countries. He is an associate professor at the Center for Human Rights at the University of Africa, and is also the author of nearly 200 publications published in around 30 languages. Fernand de Farren's work and commitment focuses on the human rights of minorities as well as of ethnic conflicts, the rights of migrants, the relationship between ethnicity, human rights, and democracies, and the use of federalism and other forms of autonomy arrangements to balance competing cultural interests. His contributions on these topics in many parts of the world, including as a professor for almost 20 years at Murdoch University in Australia, as a guest professor at the following institution in Africa, Asia, and Europe. So there is a very long list of academia, Abu Academy, Dato Bunka University, Ethiopian Civil Service University, and so forth. Reports for and spoken in numerous forums on these issues, including before UN committees in Geneva, the European Parliament in Brussels, and with the OSCE High Commissioner on National Minorities. He is very attentive to the problems of Tamils and also of those of Southern Cameroons, Western Sahrawis, and all the other minorities who are fighting for nation in this globe. We have the immense pleasure to have him here within us, among us today. And we have also have the privilege to welcome him in various meetings that we did inside the premises of UN, Human Rights Council in Geneva also. And he is our great friend for the minority voice of this world, and we are very much pleased to welcome him on this stage today. We will have Mr. de Farren's statement at last, including all your speakers, our dear speakers' statements of this event. So today we are in our speakers. So let me introduce them first. We'll have Reverend Father Jerry Jumbam from for the Southern Cameroon's issues. And then we'll have the pleasure to listen to Mr. Nasser Obaid from Southern Yemen, who is in Germany, about the Southern Yemenis people's issues. And then we'll hear Mr. Vimaranathan Vimirsan, who will talk about the Tamils issue in Sri Lanka, and then we will have Mr. Hassan Mailid, who will speak about the Western Sahrawis' fate. And then we will move on to Dr. Bhavan Eliasi, who is a sociologist and a Kurdish activist, who will speak about his people's struggle from. Without further more delaying, I will now invite to take floor Mr. Reverend Father Jerry Jumbam, who is a human rights activist from he's today from Italy because he is living in exile in Italy. He is from southern Cameroon, and he's a fervent activist for the Ambazonian people rights in southern Cameroon and has played a major role in the freedom struggle of his people. He never rejects our calls to participate to any of our meetings and actions together. We are pleased to have his cooperation for now years with the Tamils. And Reverend Father Gerald Jumbam, alias Jerry Jumbam, is a priest whose inner freedom allows him to express himself freely and with conscience. And his huge commitment to the theological enterprise has wired his spirits to fashion out a theology for his African peoples. He calls it theology of self-determination, theology of self-determination, sorry. He has launched his venture with a pioneering book entitled Independence or Nothing. Today he will present his speech entitled The Pillar of Fire by Night. So welcome, Reverend Father Jerry Jumbam. The floor is yours.
I'm very grateful. I thank the host for the introduction, wonderful introduction about me. And we'll just go immediately to the work I have here, which she has beautifully put it, The Pillar of Fire by Night. I decided to entitle it The Pillar of Fire by Night, Self-Determination, and the British Southern Cameroons. The American poet Robert Frost, in his famous poem, The Road Not Taken, helps me to describe in metaphor what the situation of the people of the Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia, are in today. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down, one as far as I could. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Dear ladies and gentlemen, the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. The road through self-determination to total independence, the Southern Cameroons. We make decisions, and decisions turn around and make us. The road not taken, we took it, and that has made all the difference. Independence is not a walk in the park. The nation of Israel is leaving the land of Egypt. As soon as they cross the Red Sea, they are going to go down towards Mount Sinai, and eventually they are going to come up to the promised land. And as they are leaving the safety and security of Egypt, something amazing happens. Best described in Exodus chapter 13, verses 20 to 23. And it says, after leaving Sukkoth, they camped at Etham on the edge of the desert. By day, the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they could travel by day or night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in front of the people. The desert was behind them. The Red Sea was in front of them. And here comes the Egyptians. The people were scared to death because all they had known was Egypt and Pharaoh. And as bad as that was, at least they felt secure. But what will they do now that they are leaving their security behind them? God answers their concern by sending them a moving pillar to guide them on their way. All they had to do was follow the cloud and the fire, and they would be safe. Thus the pillar of fire by night of the southern Cameroons. Ladies and gentlemen, what pulls and moves us on to engage in these things? It is, to me, the deep discernment of the sanctity of my conscience, the anguish of our suffering people, the inviolability of every human being as made in the image and likeness of God, which to me is what is called self-determination, because it is the consciousness of being a human being, of accepting that you are just as same as the other person, of believing that you are a people, and of making yourself conscious of the fact that you have a land and you can make a country. Self-determination, the British Southern Cameroons, in matters of self-determination, its character, validity, and credibility, its tenable principles, its integrity and standing cannot more be approached as a matter of proposal or idea, unless we may plausibly so regard the Gambia and Eritrea. The Southern Cameroons is no subject of pastime or amusement. It is concrete material. It is existence. It is out there in the streets. It is the destiny of millions of people who are after legitimate space to breathe. It has come and become public property. In the words of the psalmist, its message has gone through the earth, and their words to all the world. God has made a home in the heavens for this country, the British Southern Cameroons. What genuine self-determination does is to enable the oppressed people to speak, not from the point of view of the victim, but from the high point of view of a people, of human beings, of prophets, of kings, of queens, of gods. When you think of yourself as a victim, you can have no point of view because you are already victim. The evidence of victim as victim validates the arguments of the oppressor that you are there to work for him. The freedom fighters and human rights activists of our land in recent years have been offensively earnest. They have no choice. They want to alter the arrangement which has kept them and their people out in rain and the heat of the sun. They have fought and won some victories. They have changed a few things and are struggling under leadership crisis. But quite quickly, this great collusive struggle that is independence shows its true face to us. And we are appalled, but only momentarily, for even our setbacks, we have gained something of inestimable value, a baptism of fire, the courage and determination never to surrender. The Southern Cameroonian has always held in high esteem the United Nations as a justice project, factory of human hope. But the UNO must stop being nice to state terrorism in Africa. What is the crime of the Ambazonian that we should turn him into a man of hopelessness? This man who carries a heart and soul so thirsty for excellence. His needs are so few and so straightforward. His surprise that we can't understand these simple demands, childlike, baffles him with a profound and saintly humility as he laments alone, denied dignity, and without anyone to support and cuddle him. They want total independence. Two words which the Cameroonian Republic in Yaoundé finds apocalyptic, and which has reduced these oppressors into a desperation until they bring a continental football competition to prove a lie to the world. They have instead exposed their vulnerability. Look at the arranging of the world, at the unbalanced nature of power in the world. The just and innocent wallowing in prison jails while hoodlums parade cities and towns free. Frustrations like these can break a heart. Some wild beast had plunged its poisonous fangs into the heart of the world, it seems, and squeezed genuine justice out of the earth's bloodstream. And if so, does God really exist? This may seem strange coming from a priest, but I have seen these things in concrete living that my questions are genuine. For if he is truly God, why does he suffer one recalcitrant people to suppress and rob another people of their whole right to exist? We do not seek the support of the UN to progress any narrow version of self-determination, but to follow the full-bodied quest of independence. We seek support for the simple reason of opportunity to rule ourselves with promises of an excellent democracy, building an enduring peace for our people, our continent, and for the world. These are the convictions that are the driving force behind the Southern Cameroon's candidature for full membership in the UN. We are unapologetic about our demands. Independence or nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Father Jumbam, for your beautiful speech and your this pillar of fire by night, which really wears its names very well. So Mr. Father Jerry Jumbam has questioned the UN system, and he said the UN must ask itself what its functions are. So I think at the end, our friend can maybe will have the chance to reply to his question. And thank you, Father Jerry, for having presented the frustrations of the people who are fighting for their self-determination. So independence or nothing. We stand by you, and thank you very much for this.